Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Pz.Sfl.IVb. It's the Tier 4 German SPG, and this one's located on the southwest spawn of Province under the command of JohnnieP. Now, the Pz.Sfl.IVb here sounds a bit of a name, but the Germans actually called it the Hausschreck or cricket. That's the alternative name, and this was a very late development during the Second World War, based on the chassis of the Panzer III/4, because it has running gear from both. And Johnny's taken it to a position just next to the edge of that cliff running down to the valley. And he's now aiming at the north edge of the map, and he's actually waiting for the enemy tanks to come up from the east side, going up that rise, the ramp, and he's dialed in on that position, waiting for somebody to get a spot so he can start firing at them. Well, he didn't get a spot on that Lux or that T67. They managed to get past without being seen, but he is still tracking them, and he's having to turn the vehicle. Now, one thing that is good about the Pz.Sfl.IVb is it's got a very wide angle of fire, and that's because the gun is mounted in a turret on the vehicle. And that turret has got a very wide arc. It's a 105mm gun. It's basically the same as you'll find on the FPV, the 105LFH-18B2. It's the light field howitzer, but it's very powerful. It's capable of alpha damage of 410 on a penetration of 26mm, and it only fires standard HE. I've got a M3 lead, but we've got a red line, and that's because the cliff is in the way, so we can't fire into it at the moment. And it looks and sounds like... oh! We just lost the Churchill. Was it that Churchill? No, yes, it was a Churchill one that we just lost. Now, we're aiming across the valley, so the turret's been moving around, and because we've had to go outside the field of arc, the vehicle's had to turn, and that means we've got a massive reticule bloom, and we're now aiming at the Hetzer next to the buildings. Now, it hasn't got much splash, but if it does hit the target, it can do quite a bit of damage. Again, he's aiming outside the arc, so vehicles had to move again, and that means more reticule bloom. And again, the vehicle keeps turning. It does help if you decide which side you're actually aiming at, so centre the arc so you don't get massive reticule bloom every time. Fires at the Lux, and did he get the kill? No, he didn't. Unfortunately, the Su-122A got there before us, but we're reloading, and we're going to shoot at that M3 lead, I think, next. Work out where he's going to go, and put the round in. Yes, it is good. 162 hit points. I thought it might just be on target if the M3 stopped moving. That T67, he's gone into a very exposed position. We're dialing in, and he's just behind that rock at the moment. Yep, gone to battle assistant. You can see only the turret showing, and the round actually hit the rock wall behind him. Trying to work out exactly where we can shoot. Okay, that looks good. We're loaded now. And is he going to shoot? Round out. It lands next to the T67, but there's so little splash on the 105 that he didn't do any damage to him. Well, battle's been going for 4 minutes, and he still hasn't got any more damage other than the M3 Lee. And we switched to the east side of the map, and we've got a BDR. And that's a good hit, that one. 181 off that one. And we've got the rock face in the way now, so he's going to have to move if he wants to fire again at that BDR. But I think he's decided to turn the vehicle and move to a different firing position. And that BDR is actually getting close to the cap area. He's turning to face, and the BDR's looking at the M8A1, Oh, he's killed it. We fire a round in, and it goes over the top of the BDR turret and lands behind. Now we are in a bit exposed position, but the BDR's been killed, taken out by RT-80. Okay, we've got a couple of enemy tanks here, gone into very, very precarious positions. In fact, the A-20's overturned, he's on his side, and it looks like the other tank went down to try and help, and the A-20's been killed. There's the bathtub, the S-35CA. We're almost loaded, and it looks like he's been tracked. Round out straight away, and yes! Oh, good! Well, he got 157 hit points just before it was killed. I think the A-20 went down, but it made a mistake, went over the edge, and toppled over on his side, and then the T-67 tried to go down and help him, but he also got stuck on those steps, and then he was killed. So we actually were in deficit, now we're ahead. We're 2 tanks ahead. Trying to go for the Hetzer, but not much of it is showing. He's just hiding behind that rock at the moment. He's near our cap and just at the edge of the cap area. If he keeps backing up, we'll get a shot into him, but I think he's going to hug that rock for a little while. Oh, he's moving away from the rock, round out, and that's a hit. A nice hit, and he's killed. 105, he made a classic mistake, moving away from his cover. Big mistake to do that. Right, we're 2 tanks ahead now, and it's looking very bad for the enemy. Now, those archers have gone, and that would indicate there's an enemy tank somewhere in there because he's knocked those archers down. Now, it could be that it was one of the other tanks who knocked them down, the A-20, but we can still see some of the archers falling. So that may be where the KV-1's located. He was last seen in that vicinity. You can see why the A-20 made the mistake of going over that edge. If you drive over those gaps, it'd be very easy to fall down the cliff edge. Now, enemy Arty should be located in this area. There's 3 enemy Arty. We've got a Fifi, an AMX 105 AM, and another Pz.Sfl.IVb. No sign of tracer coming from here. I'd say it'd definitely be somewhere in this area because Arty does tend to go to the same areas every time on this map. I've only seen a few Arty go down into the valley floor, but usually they end up getting discovered. Oh, I thought I saw a tracer just then in the bushes at the front. He's firing at that position. I'm pretty sure I saw a tracer from an enemy Arty there. And there's another one. Yep, we definitely saw him. He's near that rock. Near the rock to the left. There's one at the front. I did see one at the front as well. And that must have fallen near the enemy Arty. Oh, he's pulled away to look at the KV-1. Well, if those shots did land near the Arty, they probably would have relocated. In which case, then we won't see the tracer coming from the same bush. Normally when an Arty gets hit or is spotted, they'll pull back. Oh, there's the tracer from one, just behind. He's got that just about right. About there. Dialing in. And round out. Yes. Oh, and there's the other Arty. So he's fired one in. We know where they are now. We've seen the tracers coming out of here. It's just a question of hitting them. They might be relocating. Up there again. It's just a question of hitting them. No. Keep missing them. And I can hear the tracers from the outgoing Arty, but he's just not hitting them. There's the KV-1. Yes, he was under those arches. And he's sitting in that little corner, defending the hill. And that 14 TP's having difficulty trying to get up to attack the Arty. They also have an Su-85, but I suspect that Su-85 is parked near the Arty. There's the KV-1 again. Can we get a shot? No, it's redlining at the moment. The building's in the way. But he keeps getting too close to the edge. Now we can hit him. Oh, it hits the building instead. It's a very narrow aim. You're aiming between that arch or that tower and the building. It's a bell tower, actually. Round out. Can he hit? Yes, he can. That was a very good shot. Right through the gap. There's the Su-85. And he's hidden in the corner. Is he? No, he's not. He is upright. I thought for a second he might be on his side. Fire a round in. And it's an accurate shot, but I don't think we got a hit. There he is. He's come out because he was damaged. And unfortunately, he's just killed our 14 TP. But I think we're going to fire another round in. Round out. Oh, and in the end, he's actually killed by our Hetzer. Now, will the Hetzer be able to find the KV-1? I think that KV-1 will probably come out to try and find the Hetzer, actually. Now, we're going back to the Arty. Well, we're blind firing in now in the known locations that we saw the last time. But I suspect that the enemy will have moved. There's the KV-1. Can we hit him again? He is a one-shot now. If we get a good shot, we can hit him. Oh, he's been killed! He was set fire by the Stug-4. Which means that it's only the enemy Arty to kill now. And so we might as well make our way to the enemy cap and force the enemy to come down to us. Well, JohnnieP's going to sit here, prepare and wait for his team to spot them. The Hetzer's moving into the enemy area. There's the 105. Turning to face. We fire a round in and... oh, we get a hit. 8 hit points, but we lose the Hetzer. The AMX 105 derped him with a 105mm gun. We're ready to shoot again and round out. This should kill the 105. And it does! Now, where are the other two? In fact, actually one, because the other one's been killed. There's only the Fifi left. The 105 LUT FH-18B2, otherwise known as the Leffy to most tank drivers. Fifi to the members of What Arty Noobs. There he is. And he's dead. The Panzer IV-H gets him. So that's game. And our round hits the wall afterwards. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And it's a first class tanker for JohnnieP in the Pz.Sfl.IVb. He also managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 8, a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the battle, and a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. Let's have a look at team score. Top of the damage, 1,131 hit points of damage. That's pretty good for a tier 4 Arty. Next high score was the Stug-4, managed 929. Then we've got the Lux on the enemy team, 613. When it came to kills, well, it was actually the Panzer IV-H managed to get the most on our team. He got 3, and the AMX 105 AM managed to get 3 on the enemy team. Then there's a whole bunch of tanks with 2 kills, and JohnnieP only managed to get 1, unfortunately. But when it came to base XP, it was the 14 TP, the one that was killed by the Su-85. He managed to get 661, the Stug-4 got 492, and so did JohnnieP in the Pz.Sfl.IVb. If we look at detail report, we can see that he fired 27 rounds. He got 7 direct hits, 7 penetration, and 7 splash. The light field howitzer is actually quite a good weapon for penetrating targets. He did damage 1,131 hit points, of which 1,026 were at more than 300 meters. Obviously, the closer shots were the ones he was firing at the enemy vehicles that were capping. He damaged 9 of the enemy, that's 3/5 of the enemy team, but he only killed 1 of them. And on a premium account, he earned 21,518 credits. And after ammunition resupply, which was very cheap, he actually took away 18,062 credits. He picked up 2 bonds, one for the Confederate, one for the High Calibre. And he also got 738 XP, plus 369 for personal reserve bonus, meaning he took away 1,107 experience points altogether. So a reasonable battle there. Unfortunately, it does expose the one thing about the Pz.Sfl.IVb. Even though it's got a very wide arc of fire, it can't cover all areas of the battlefield, and when you do have to turn the vehicle, you do get a massive reticule bloom, and that can present a bit of a problem then dialing in on the target. The reload speed's actually quite good for this Arty, which is surprising really, but because it's very similar in many ways to the gun on the Fifi, so it should have a fast reload speed. And a lot of people think, oh well, it's not a great Arty because it's very slow and sluggish, but in actual fact it is quite good. So it's well worth having in your inventory in your garage. And the win rate for that battle was 4022, which is super Unicum standard. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.